Venom Spoiler Movie Review. Directed by Ruben Fleischer, starring Tom Hardy, Michelle Williams, and Riz Ahmed. There's a lot of range in Tom Hardy's portrayal of the main character Eddie. He's an oversleeping loser who looks like he has a parasite, then he gets a parasite and drinks too much, and looks like he's an overtired alcoholic with a parasite.
Ow.
Riz Ahmed plays Carlton Drake, the CEO of Life Foundation, a corporation that has deep space exploration as one of its accomplishments on its CV. And as it brings back to Earth some goopy alien life it found on a comet, the landing inevitably goes wrong and some of the alien goop escapes. Classic. Carlton Drake has a questionable history of ethics because movie villain and alien goop needs exploiting, otherwise it's just alien goop.
So I have to ask, how does that work? You know, exactly the Life Foundation thing. How does it I don't know, how does it go about, say, testing pharmaceuticals?
Eddie, we're talking about the rocket here.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about the allegations. It says that you recruit the most vulnerable of us to volunteer for tests that more often than not end up killing people.
Eddie.
They never got to work out.
Thank you very much.
We're not finished.
Yes, you are, Mr. Brock.
Is that a threat?
Have a nice life.
Having a hunch that Carlton Drake is a crook, our pre-parasite protagonist and self-professed loser, Eddie, through his own journalistic curiosity, ends up getting himself and his fiancée fired from their jobs. This leads to his relationship ending and Eddie descending into a downward spiral of self-loathing, and loserishness. 6 months later, he's befriending the homeless. He's unemployed and the bills are piling up. Yet he's still got electricity to cook tater tots and not actually be homeless. This is sympathy building 101 for the audience before he gets infected with a symbiotic alien virus that eats humans. So it desensitizes us to Eddie eating humans via the symbiotic parasite. Why stop at he's down and out, he's got bills to pay? Mate, we've all got bills to pay, and I once had a hectic E. coli infection that left me in hospital in a quarantined area for 2 days, and I had to get a cystoscopy to make sure my insides were okay, and also, I had bills to pay. But I'm pretty sure no one would sympathise with me if I started eating people's heads off and just blamed E. coli. So if you're unemployed, have an ex, have unpaid bills, and an alien parasite, this is enough for people to sympathetically condone cannibalism. Good to know. Hannibal and Clarice, I hope you're listening. Imagine trying to defend yourself in court. Judge: why'd you eat that man's head off? Oh, I had a barfly and I was hungry. And? I have bills to pay and an ex. Not guilty. So whilst Eddie is busy shopping at convenience stores and showing his street smarts with the homeless, one of the scientists who is helping Carlton Drake with the human experiments has a moment of conscience and decides to track Eddie down to give him the scoop. She takes him to the facility without any regard for security cameras, so he's practically asking to get caught, and what do you know, the goopy alien goop finds a perfect match in Eddie and infects him, almost as if the only reason Eddie was the main character to begin with is because he was always going to be the perfect symbiont alien host main character.
What the hell are you?
I am Venom, and you are mine.
You bit somebody's head off.
Fuel in the tank. Think of yourself as my ride.
Where are you going?
We need Carlton Drake's rocket.
You gonna eat anybody else?
Most likely.
Oh, God.
That is why we are here. Cooperate, and you might just survive.
With newfound strength, he escapes the facility and briefly returns to normal life as
I'm Venom.
starts developing inside of him, and eventually the henchmen of Carlton Drake track Eddie down.
Hey, Eddie.
Who the hell is this guy?
I'm gonna need Mr. Drake's property back.
It's a simple story, and to make things even more simple for simple audiences, we have dumbed down character tropes so audiences don't have to spend time thinking, who's that bald guy? Is he good or bad? Because bald equals bad. Because we need more brain power dedicated to comprehend the parasitic, symbiotic relationship of Eddie and Venom, because that's really hard to comprehend. It's actually harder to say than it is to comprehend. Parasitic symbiotic relationship. Harder to say than it is to comprehend. So the story builds as Venom, now inside Eddie's body, starts befriending him from the inside out, and the two become an unlikely pair, an anti-hero of sorts. I am so bored to death of movie alien races always coming to movie Earth, needing to teach movie lessons and wanting to infect movie humans and take over the movie planet. It's so uninteresting. It would be more interesting if movie aliens came to movie Earth and forced the entire movie human race to do, I don't know, Zumba? If you're going to assert your power over the movie human race, you might as well have some movie fun along the way, right? And nothing says fun like Zumba. But what would be even more threatening beyond Zumba till you drop would be the alien race bringing with them a swag of unpaid energy bills, because I'm sure their bills pile up, right? And basically the aliens arrive and say,
"One, we have plasma weapons which can liquefy you, but they are really expensive to run, and we have outstanding energy bills that need paying in order for us to run the weapons, so we can demand you pay all of our overdue bills by the final reminder notice date, and we let your heads off."
Then Carlton Drake gets infected with his own alien symbiote, and it's absolutely ridiculous how this eventuates. And Eddie/Venom have to fight/face off against Carlton/Venom 2.0. Like most creature films these days, the creature has an exploitable weakness. In this case, it's sound and fire. Surely fire is enough. When is burning anything good for anyone? Why are bullets not harmful at all? A spray of bullets is not a problem, and yet a high-pitched noise, and fire literally tears it apart. These advanced life forms always have some lame weakness. In Signs, it was water. In A Quiet Place, it was sound. And in Venom, it's fire and sound. You know what's missing from movies these days? The main characters having to use their actual brains to overcome problems and not getting an easy out, like turn up the volume. And they have to use their own skills and their own nous to outsmart the villain. A good example of this is Ripley in Alien.
Get away from her, you bitch!
And furthermore, you know the story is avoiding its own plot misgivings when the villain can't be killed with a simple bullet. The action for the most part is messy, and fast edits equals low production value. There's some lol moments which fit nicely, but ultimately it's a film that doesn't really have anything to say, and what it does say is pretty underwhelming. The best part of this film is the 5-minute animated Spider-Man short at the end of the credits. The very end. Almost at the very end. Venom gets 1.5 overdue, unpaid, and final notice bills. This, of course, leads to his relationship ending and Eddie descending into a downward spiral of self-loathing, self-loathing, and self-fulfilling loserishness. Imagine trying to defend yourself in court. Judge, why did you eat a man's head off? There's that old Kentucky voice again. Why did you eat a man's head off, Kentucky? I had a butt fly and I was hungry. Why did you eat a man's head off? I had a butt fly and I was hungry. And? I have an ex and bills to pay. Not guilty!